Welcome to our class today to help you improve your English speaking fluency, which is, of course, something I know you want to do. And we're going to do this in a listen and repeat. So you'll listen to me. So you'll shadow me to make sure you sound like a native. You have correct pronunciation, correct grammar, correct use of the word as well. And the theme of our lesson today is ordering. You order things every day. We'll specifically talk about food and beverages. So, ordering at cafe, ordering off a menu at a restaurant, ordering, what's in this image here? The bottom left image, who knows what this is? Or ordering at a place, a store where you can go to get baked goods, bread, muffins, cakes, all that delicious stuff, a bakery. So, all different types of ordering. Now, let's talk about ordering coffee. Is this something you do every day as part of your daily routine? So, here's something you can say. And of course, you can replace this with your specific order. So, you can share your order in the comments. So, notice it's I'll get a. I'll get a. This is how native speakers would order a coffee at a cafe. I would just say I'll get a, and then the whatever the order is. So this one may be a little more complicated of an order. Large cold brew with oat milk. Large cold brew with oat milk. So what would be your order? So let's listen to this fast so you can shadow me to hear how these sounds combine in spoken English. And then you can open your mouth and repeat after me. I'll get a large cold brew with oat milk. I'll get a large cold brew with oat milk. Notice this, I'll get a, that definitely sounds like one word. I'll get a, I'll get a, I'll get a. Repeat after me. I'll get a large cold brew with oat milk. Now there can be a natural pause between large cold brew with oat milk because think of it as two separate ideas. Now, Adrian Gaming asked, how about I'd like a? Absolutely. There are other ways to order. This is the most common. And this is the one I hear 80% of native speakers would use this. But absolutely, there are other ways to order. You can say, I'd like a large cold brew with oat milk. I'd like a. I personally don't use that very often. However, it certainly is an option. You can also say, can I have a? Can I have a? Can I have a large cold brew with oat milk? Can I have a small green tea with honey, perhaps? Okay. Now, instead of can I have a, it would be more common for a native speaker to state it as a fact rather than a question. So, like Hidaki said, although absolutely grammatically you can say, can I? But it would be more common to state it in affirmative form and say, I'll have a. I would say this is the second most common that a native speaker would use. So instead of I'll get a, the second most common would be I'll have a. I'll have a large cold brew with oat milk. And notice all. This is a contraction of I will. Repeat after me. All. I'll get a. I'll get a large cold brew with oat milk. I'll get a small green tea with honey. Whatever your order preference is. Okay, let's keep going. Now, here is where native speakers would use question form if we are asking a question. Okay? So, this is a question. You go up to your favorite cafe and you want to order something, but you have a specific taste preference, dietary preference, allergy. So, you want to confirm. Do you have any caffeine-free options? What does this mean? Anyone know? And notice the pronunciation. Do you have? 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 That isn't a requirement. When I explain pronunciation changes that native speakers use, I am not saying that you must pronounce it like this. That's not what I'm doing. But my goal is more for you to understand natives, to understand that we combine our sounds. So if you hear us say, do you have? You understand, oh, it's do you have? Do you have? Do you have any? Do you have any? Do you have any caffeine-free options? Okay, so a caffeine-free option would be any drinks that do not contain caffeine. Yeah, exactly, Monsoon. So some people don't like caffeine or they don't want it as part of their diet for whatever reason. So you can add free after an option. So maybe it's very common in North America to request gluten free. Do you have any gluten free options? So options without gluten. Do you have any sugar free options? Options without sugar. Do you have any dairy free options? So this is another student asked about oat in the last example. Sorry, I don't see your comment anymore, but I did see it. Right now in North America, it's very common to not have dairy. Dairy meaning milk products. So oat milk is milk not from cows. It's from a plant. It's a plant-based milk. Oh, here's the comment. So perhaps in Italy, this isn't common, but in North America, there are large sections of menus that are dairy free. So they have alternative options other than milk. So people who do not drink cow milk can still get this because it's made from oats, which is a plant. Okay, so let me know if that's common in your country to see these dairy free options. Yeah, non-dairy, exactly. Okay, do you have any caffeine-free options? Do you have any? Do you have any caffeine-free options? All right. Yes, exactly. These are other types. Almond milk is also very common in North America. Coconut milk, not as common because I think coconuts are quite expensive in North America. So maybe not as common, but absolutely, that's a great example of a non dairy option. Great job. Oh, right. And someone asked for the spelling of dairy. So this is the spelling dairy, dairy, dairy. Okay. Let's keep going. What else could you ask at a cafe? Ooh, this is a common one, especially in summer. Can you make it iced? So, again, this is more of a question because the person does not know if it's possible. If we know it's possible, it's less likely to ask it as a question and just give it as a statement. Like I said, with ordering your coffee, it's more common to just say, I'll get a, I'll have a, rather than saying, can I? But here, and notice it's can you make it? Make means prepare. Can you prepare my coffee, my tea, my cappuccino, my latte iced? Iced. Notice that pronunciation, iced with that T, iced. Can you make it iced? So let's put this together. You say, I'll have a, or I'll get a. I'll get a small green tea with honey. Can you make it iced? So the person wants a cold tea rather than a hot tea. Okay. Oh, and in Spain, it's common. That's awesome. Yes, with ice, with ice. Exactly. I like this coffee on the rocks. That's great. I love it. Yeah. Put ice cubes into it. Exactly. And this is the correct pronunciation, iced. Iced. Can you make it iced? Can you make it iced? Can you make it caffeine free? Can you make it sugar free? So you can use this for whatever preference you have or request you have, and use question form if you're not sure if it's possible. Let's keep going. Notice how I say this. This is unsweetened, right? This is unsweetened, right? Do you understand what's happening here? Because the first part is a statement. This is unsweetened. So unsweetened means the person did not add anything to make it sweet. So that could be sugar, it could be agave, honey, syrup, whatever options there are to make it sweet, but you wanted it unsweetened. So maybe when you ordered, you said, I'll get a, what would be a drink that's usually sweet? Well, let's just say iced tea, okay? I'll get a large iced tea. I'll get a large unsweetened iced tea. So that's what you would say. I'll get a large unsweetened iced tea. So you order it, okay? And then they say iced tea for Jennifer. And then I pick up my iced tea and I say, this is unsweetened, right? So I'm confirming that they prepared it correctly before I drink it. So you might ask, this is caffeine free, right? This is oat milk, right? So you're stating it and then you're adding right? Okay, so that is getting the confirmation. All right. Someone asked, let me read this. How do you call this ordinary, everyday type of coffee like black coffee in America? Oh, that's a great question. You just say black coffee. Okay, so we just call it coffee. Coffee. We call it coffee. Now, we also, if you're in a fancy cafe where it's less likely that people order regular coffee, because in cafes, most people get like cappuccinos, cold brews, these creative drinks. So in that case, if you want to make sure that it's just a regular, ordinary coffee, you say drip coffee, because to prepare it, you put it in a coffee maker and the coffee drips. It drips. You like my sound effects? So the coffee drips, which is why we call it drip coffee. Now, coffee, the black part isn't for the preparation. It's for the fact that you do not want sugar or milk. Okay. So I'll get a large drip coffee. And then you could add on black, which means no sugar or milk, or I'll get a large black drip coffee. So you can add black directly in as an adjective. I'll get a large black drip coffee. Okay. But we just call it coffee. Let's keep going. Before we do, I hope you're enjoying this lesson. I have this free speaking guide for you. I share my best tips and advice right here to help you speak English fluently and confidently. I get the same questions again and again, so I put all my best advice directly in this guide, which you can download absolutely free. And then you can print it out like I did, or you can simply save it to your computer and you can read it on your computer to save paper. All right, so just go to my website and you can get this. And I want to make sure you're enjoying this lesson. So put yes, yes, yes if you are, or maybe a coffee emoji since we're talking about coffee, thumbs up, smiley face, whatever you want. And also make sure you like this lesson. It truly supports my channel. It motivates me to come here and spend my time with you as well. And subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson, every time I go live as well. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, you can say, I'll get a large cappuccino. You don't have to say coffee. So cappuccino is the type. So just, I'll get a large cappuccino. I'll get a large cappuccino. Do not add coffee after it. Hello, Ivana. And woohoo, I'm so glad. And thank you for the coffee emojis as well. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's keep going. What do we have next? Oh, so if you are presented with a menu and then the server, which is the gender neutral term for waiter, waitress, you can just use server because it's gender neutral. And the server comes to the table and takes your order at the table. That is called a sit down restaurant. Okay. But you can just call it a restaurant. But if there's any confusion, well, what type of restaurant? Then it's called a sit down restaurant. But you can absolutely just call it a restaurant as well. Okay. Yes. Coffee day. I had my cup of coffee today. I drink it black. What about you? Have you had a coffee yet today? It could be nighttime for you, so maybe you already have. So let's look at some phrases you can use for ordering at a sit-down restaurant. How about this? So before you order, you need to get a table. So you can walk up to the entrance. There might be a stand. And you can say, for two, please, in a booth if you have one. So for two, please. You can say table for two, but most people will just drop the table and just walk up and say, of course, you can exchange a pleasantry. Oh, hi, how are you? Hi, beautiful day, isn't it? For two, please. For two, please. So this is table for two, please. And then you just say for two, please. For two, please. And then if you have a preference, you can state it here. In a booth, this should be if you have one. Sorry about that. There's a typo here. Let me write out in a booth, if you have one, not in, if you have one. So if, in a booth, if you have one. So notice that in a booth, you're stating your preference. A booth is where there's like a long bench. And then there's, rather than a chair like I'm in right now, it's a long bench. Okay. So in a booth, if you have one, if you have one. So it's another way of saying if it's available, if it's available. Yeah, it can be against the wall. It doesn't have to be, but it can be against the wall for sure. So you can just go into Google Images and put booth in a restaurant, for example. Okay. Now, you might say on the patio if there's space. So if you have one, the one means a spot, a booth available. So if it were a patio, I would say on the patio, because you use the preposition on the patio. Maybe I would add if you can, or if there's space, if there's room. I wouldn't say if you have one, because the one represents the patio and they do have a patio, but you're more so asking if there is space on the patio. Okay, so for patio, I would say this: on the patio, if you can, if there's space, if there's room. So those are in North America, especially in summer, people want to sit on the patio. For some reason, people really like booths. They're definitely the most common seating. So inside the restaurant, you might ask in a booth if you have one. So notice in a booth, in a booth. Okay, let's keep going. So what's your preference? Inside, in a booth, outside, on the patio? What would you choose? Let's keep going. How about this? Do you have any specials tonight? Do you have any specials tonight? Do you have any specials tonight? We already talked about the do you have? Do you have? Do you have? Do you have any specials tonight? So specials means that there's some item that isn't on the menu and it is being prepared by the chef for that night or that week only. Do you have any specials tonight? So that's a very common question to ask. Okay. Outside on the patio, on the patio. Outside on the patio. Hidaki prefers inside. Outside on the patio, on the patio, inside. All right. 50-50 here. Okay, here is one. So they may come and offer you water or ask you what type of water you want. Now, you might just say, house water is fine. House water is fine. Now, is fine, you're saying this is what I want. So they might offer you, oh, would you like sparkling or bottled? And then you can just say, house water is fine. So you're declining the sparkling water and the bottled water, and you're saying you want house water, which is a term only used in restaurants and maybe hotels. House water is tap water. So tap water is the water that comes out of a tap. But in restaurants, I guess they feel like it's not a nice word, so they change it to house water. I personally think it's kind of dumb, but that's what they decided to use in restaurants. I personally just still say tap water. Okay, but that's what they'll probably ask you. Or if you want to specify, you can say house water is fine. Or you can say you can agree to the sparkling water or the bottled water that they offer you. And yes, house water is tap water. Yeah, and that's why I'm sharing this because at restaurants they want you to spend money, so often they don't offer you tap water because they want you to pay for water. But then you just say house water is fine. So you let them know, no, 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 I'm not paying for water. House water is fine. But in some parts of the world, the tap water isn't drinkable or you wouldn't want to drink it, right? But in North America, you can. Tap water is free in North America. If someone tries to charge you for tap water, they are ripping you off, okay? Tap water is free. All right. Sparkling water is with bubbles in it. So what's the word? It's carbonated water. So like your Coca-Cola is carbonated. There's bubbles in it. So it's water. There's no sweetener or anything like that. It's water, but it's carbonated. So they call that sparkling water. Sparkling water. Okay. So what kind of water do you normally order in restaurants? Let's keep going. Oh, a very common question. Can I substitute the fries for a Caesar salad? Can I substitute the fries for a Caesar salad? So again, this is a question form because you don't know if it's possible. They'll either say no or they'll say yes, but there's a fee. A fee meaning you have to pay for it. So that's why you're asking as a question because it's not assumed. Okay. Now, substitute means the meal that you order comes with fries. So fries are included, but you don't want fries. You want a Caesar salad. So that's substitute. Substitute. So change one for the other. And yeah, you can absolutely say replace. Can I replace the fries? Can I replace the fries with a Caesar salad? So replace, I would use with, but substitute, can I substitute the fries? No, I would use for with substitute like I have here. Okay. This is a good one. House water is fine with a piece of lemon, please. Piece of lemon, please. That's kind of a tongue twister. Piece of lemon, please. Piece of lemon, please. Whoa, try to say that 5 times. That's a tongue twister. Piece of lemon, please. Okay, yeah, you can absolutely say that. I probably wouldn't say piece of lemon. It's understandable, but I would say slice with a slice of lemon, please. And sometimes they even call it a lemon wedge, which is a thicker slice. So a Caesar salad, for example, generally comes with a lemon wedge. So it's a thicker slice. Maybe you would take your lemon and put it in quarters so you can squeeze the lemon on your Caesar salad because it's delicious. But in water, you usually have a thin slice and then you just put it in the water. So I would say with a slice of lemon, please. With a slice of lemon, please. No, I wouldn't say, can I turn the fries into a Caesar salad? Because if you turn something into something, it's like you're taking the fries and you're creating a Caesar salad with the fries. So I might say, I turned this old shirt into a pillowcase. So I sewed the shirt in a way that it formed a pillowcase. So that's turn something into, and that's why I wouldn't do that. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that for sharing a super sticker. And oh, Mana as well. You're so sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That definitely helps support the channel and makes it possible for me to keep making these lessons for you because I truly love making them. So thank you for your generosity. I appreciate that. I'll buy myself a coffee. Okay, so you'd have to get a transformer. Exactly. So substitute or replace, I would say. Those would be the best ones. Now, realistically, most people do the opposite. They substitute salad for fries, not the other way around. All right. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so what would you substitute? Now remember, substituting isn't removing something. So if you order a burger and you don't want tomato, you would just say with no tomato. You wouldn't, if you say substitute, you're saying remove the tomato, but put something else. Okay, so it's not the same as remove. So if you had to substitute a side item, what would you choose? Let's keep going and we'll talk about ordering drive-through. So drive-through. I asked this at the beginning. What is the word for this image? and it's drive-through. So is drive-through possible? Is drive-through common, popular in your country? Do you order drive-through? All right. Let's keep going. Oh, it's your first time, James. Well, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's see what we have. So remember, drive-through is very casual. So here, they usually have a menu board posted, and to make things as fast as you possibly can, they will have a number beside everything. So instead of ordering the double cheeseburger with bacon and fries and a Coke, you just order the number 5. The number 5. Oh, Will, that's so generous. Thank you so much. Now I will also buy my husband a coffee after this. He will enjoy it. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. I really appreciate it. Okay, so you can just order the number. You can say the name. If there's the name there, you absolutely can, but it's just easy. It's fast. I'll have the. Now, you don't have to use have. You can say I'll get the number 5. Now I'll have number 5. You need the article here grammatically. I'll have the number 5. The number 5. I'll have the number 5, but with no pickles. So remember before we were talking about substituting. So you remove pickles, but you add something else. But in this case, you're just saying remove the pickles. Don't add anything else, but with no pickles. But with no pickles. But with no pickles. Okay, so you can replace pickles with whatever you want, but with no cheese, but with no ketchup, but with no mayo, but with no onions, or whatever you want. Oh, yes. It is very common for native speakers to say, I'll do the number 5, but with no pickles. Yes, that is common. So the ones I explained to you, they may seem casual or like even very informal because they're not the proper I would like that you learn in your classes, your English classes, but I'll have a is just standard. It's what native speakers use. It sounds correct. I'll do is more slang, more informal, but it is very commonly used. Yes. Yes. And if you want to be on the safe side, I would just choose I'll get a, I'll have a, but understand when a native speaker says I'll do, they're just saying I'll have, I'll order. And you can absolutely say but without pickles. So in saying with no, say without. You can absolutely say that, but without pickles. You don't even have to say the but. You can say, I'll have the number 5 without pickles. You don't have to include but. That's optional. Oh, right. So what would you say without? What would you order without X, without Y? Omit, this sounds too formal to me. Could you omit the pickles, please? This sounds like a direct translation. It doesn't sound like something a native speaker would use in the context of ordering. Omit is a legitimate word that is used in specific contexts, but not this context that I'm sharing with ordering food. Is it cheaper without pickles? Yeah, generally not. They charge you for adding things, but if you remove items, you don't get a discount. Good point. Good point. Oh, thank you so much, Ariel. Wow, aren't we a generous group today, everyone? Thank you. Now I can order a cappuccino, get my husband a latte. He always gets a latte. And maybe we'll get a little dessert to share as well. Wouldn't that be nice? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. I'll get the number 5 with no fries. Exactly. With no fries, without. With no fries, without. Same things. With no onions because I'll get heartburn. Exactly. Exactly. I'll have the number 5 with no onions. Okay. I would say I want this sounds a little too direct. I want the number 5. That almost sounds a little rude, to be honest. There are many times I say I want, but generally if I'm ordering something, I don't say I want. It's a little too direct, perhaps a little rude, like I said. So I would not recommend using that. Uh, right back with no tomatoes. Exactly. Let's keep going. Oh, okay. Remember, we're in the context of drive through. You order to a box. You don't usually see a person. You're just like talking into a box, a machine. And then you go to another window, they call it a window, up ahead, and then someone hands you a bag and you take the bag and the bag has all your food in it, right? So as you're ordering, you might say, "Can you throw in some extra napkins?" So throw in means, can you put some extra napkins in the bag? In the bag. Okay. Now, drive through is a very casual ordering environment, the most casual ordering environment you can get. So, can you throw in some extra napkins? It sounds correct, but it sounds casual. It's absolutely used in the context of putting something into a bag, okay? So it must be putting into a bag. Can you throw in some extra napkins? Can you throw in some extra napkins? And throw in means include. Include. Can you include some extra napkins? Can you include some extra napkins? And then whatever extra you want, can you include some extra salt or pepper, ketchup, things that come in packages, for example? Yes, Muitin. I go live on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, which is New York City time. I don't know what time that is for you, but you can just Google 8 a.m. New York time and then see what that is in your time zone. Oh, right. Yeah. Can you throw in some extra spoons? Exactly. Can you include some extra spoons? Yeah. Can you put in some extra napkins? Because you're putting them into the bag, the bag. Can you put in some extra napkins? Can you include some extra napkins? Very good. Can you throw in some extra sauce? Exactly. Yeah. Very good. Oh, right. So that's a very useful one. But remember, it's only for putting something in a bag. So you could use this phrase as well if you were ordering at the counter. So the counter is not the drive-through. So if you order at the counter, it means you're inside the restaurant, you're at the counter, but you're getting it to go. So they're still going to give you a bag. And in that case, you can still use these. So anytime you're getting something in a bag, you can use these. Can you throw in some extra straws? Yeah. Now, if you use some, remember your noun straw is plural. So you have to say straws. Otherwise, can you throw in an extra straw, which would be one, an extra straw, an extra straw? Can you throw in some extra straws? Oh, right. Yeah, a napkin is the same as a tissue, but in North America, we use the word tissue as this. Well, we actually call it Kleenex, which is the brand, but the precise term is tissue, but we use it for our noses. We don't use tissues for our hands because they're too thin. They're way too thin for your hands. So a napkin is a thick tissue, okay? But it's the same size. It's the same size, but it's a lot thicker. A straw is the long tube that you have in your drink that you drink out of. Obviously, this is not a straw, it's a pen, so I'm not going to put it in my drink, but that is a straw, a straw. And fun fact, in North America, it is not common to get plastic straws anymore because for environmental reasons, plastic is no longer being used. Yeah, don't drink the ink. Exactly. So straws are being made from paper. So most places will give you paper straws, which I'm very happy that they're taking steps for the environment. However, that paper straw does not last very long. So you have to drink very quickly. Is the same thing in your country where they're transitioning to paper straws? Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, so drive-through or fast food in general, it's very common to have a coupon. Notice the pronunciation of this. Coupon, coupon. That's a weird word to say. Coupon, 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 coupon. Wow, that's a very weird word. Can I use this coupon? So a coupon would be it's probably not a piece of paper anymore. It's probably just maybe something digital that you show them, but I guess it could be a piece of paper where it says like $1 off or 2 for $5, and regularly it'd be like 2 for $10 or something. So it's some sort of discount or special promotion, but it is not for everyone. It's only for the people who have a coupon, 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 coupon. Yeah, yeah. Coupon? Oh, coupon? Yeah, that sounds weird. Coo. What's the bird that coos? A pigeon. Coo. Coupon. Okay. Ah, it's the same name in Spain. That's cool. All right. Can I use this coupon? So you have a coupon that says $3 off or something like that. And you want to make sure you can redeem. Can I use this coupon? This is a great one. Can I use my points? Yes, exactly. I wish I had used that instead. I feel like it's more universal now. Points. Can I use my points? So every time you go to this one restaurant or fast food place or cafe, you get points. And then after After a certain amount of time, those points represent free things or money or discounts. Really nicely done. I like that. Can I use this coupon for $10? That would be a great coupon to have. Exactly. Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Can I use this QR code? And the QR code has a discount, $10 off, something like that. Okay. Let's keep going. So someone asked if you don't get pickles, do you get a discount? And we talked about how, well, no, in North America it's not common, but it is common to have to pay more for additional items, of course. I mean, that's logical, right? So maybe you would ask, how much is it to, and then whatever. How much is it to upgrade my order? How much is it to supersize? How much is it to add cheese? How much is it to add bacon? How much is it to add fries? How much is it to add a drink? A drink, okay? How much is it? And then to do something is the sentence structure. How much is it? How much is it? How much is it? How much is it to add cheese? How much is it to add cheese? Yeah. How much is it to add olive oil? How much is it to add ketchup? Hopefully they don't charge you for ketchup, but hey, you never know. Oh, wow. Could you imagine getting charged to remove, oh wait, charge actually, yeah, for removing something? I don't want pickles. Okay, you have to pay an extra $5 to remove the pickles. Yes, this is a great one. How much is it to add vanilla syrup to my coffee? Exactly, exactly. So this could absolutely be in a cafe or some other environment as well. Extra things, extra money. Exactly. There's the famous economic expression which really applies to this. There's no such thing as a free lunch, which is more of an not actually talking about food, is talking about your opportunity cost if anyone studied economics. But this certainly applies. How much is it to add an avocado? Oh, yeah. Avocados are very expensive in North America. So you would absolutely pay to add an avocado. Your dad said that. Well, your dad is smart. I mean, it makes, it's a good saying. It's true. It's very true. The lesson behind that is quite profound. Okay. So how much does it cost? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? How much is it? How much is it? How much does it cost? Okay. Awesome. Now, let's move on to a bakery. I love bakeries. They smell so good. All the products are amazing as well. How about this one? Was this bread made today? Was this bread made today? So, this is a question, of course, because you want the answer. You want a yes or a no. There's an assumption that bread you get at a bakery is made fresh the same day. But you still want confirmation if you're not sure. Maybe it doesn't look very fresh or something like that. Was this bread made today? Was this bread made today? Okay, so that's something you could ask. Yeah, you could also say, is it fresh? That's not as precise though, because they could say, yeah, it's fresh, but they made it 2 days ago. But their interpretation of fresh is 2 days, 2 days old, right? So you have to be, this one's more specific. How about this one? Can I get the muffin in a separate bag, please? So let's say you order a few different items and you want the muffin maybe for someone else. You're going to give it to someone, or you want to put all the other items in your trunk or in the back seat, and then you want to eat the muffin. So you could ask, "Can I get the muffin in a separate bag, please?" Now, this would be a great one to have in the fast food as well. Maybe you order 5 items and you want one thing in a separate bag. So you want to separate the one item for whatever reason. Okay. This is a good question. When was this bread made for the next one? Because then they have to say, "Oh, it was made yesterday." It's like, I'm not buying day-old bread from a bakery. Day old, day old. That's what they call it, day old bread. Usually they have a shelf for day old bread, and it's a lot cheaper than the rest of the bread. When was this bread made? That's a good question. Yeah, was this bread baked today? You can use baked as well because you bake bread. You can use make or bake. When was this bread made? Or was this bread made today? Was this bread baked today? Yes. Can I get the croissant in a separate bag, please? Exactly, exactly. When was this bread baked? Exactly. When was this bread baked? Can I get the burger in a separate bag? Exactly, exactly. Great job. Day old bread. So they might say, all the day old bread is 50% off. All the day old bread is 50% off. So day old, day old, day old. Because the Y, you hear the Y on the old. So it sounds more like yold, yold, day old, day old, day old, day old. All the day old bread is 50% off. All the day old bread is 50% off. 2 day old bread is free. I certainly hope so. Exactly. So day old is an adjective. It describes the bread. Oh, this one. This bread wasn't made yesterday, was it? Yeah, I like that. I like that. So kind of turning it around. Nicely done. Okay. How about this? That looks delicious. What is it? What is it? So keep in mind, when I go into a bakery, there are lots of different pastries. Pastries are all those delicious, small, sweet treats, I'll call them. And I don't know the names of all of them. I'm not a baker. So I just usually point to things and say, I'll have that one, the red one, the one with the strawberry on top. So native speakers often in these situations, we will use more descriptive words because we don't know what the terms are for all these delicious pastries and treats. So you might just ask, "Oh, that looks delicious. What is it? What is it?" And then they'll tell you the name. Another really common one, which I probably should have used, what's in it? What's in it? So this you're asking about the ingredients, what's in it? And then they might say, "Oh, it's strawberry and walnuts," or whatever the ingredients are. And you're like, "Oh, walnuts. No, thank you. What about this one? What's that one? Or what's in that one?" For example. So this you're asking about the ingredients. What's in it? What are the ingredients? And obviously they won't tell you every ingredient. They'll just tell you the main ingredients. Because in this one, what is it? They might just say the name and then I might not know what that is. Or they could say, if I say, "What is it?" And they say, "Oh, that's a strawberry walnut tart." That's a strawberry walnut tart, for example. Oh, me too. I always get the lemon desserts. I love the lemon squares, the lemon bars, lemon pie. Me too. Oh, I like this one. That pink one looks great. What flavor is it? Yeah, because pink, it could be strawberry, raspberry, cherry. What else? Many other things, probably. Okay. Yeah, they do usually have the names available. You're right. They usually do say the names. That's true. Okay. Let's keep going. Ooh. Do you make custom cakes? Do you make custom cakes? What's a custom cake? Oh, I like this. The green one is pistachio. Pistachio. A lot of native speakers have trouble with this word, including my husband. It's so funny. The green one is pistachio. 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 Okay. Do you make custom cakes? Do you make custom cakes? So yeah, exactly. Like a wedding cake or a birthday cake. So a custom cake is one where you as the customer, you get to tell them what you want in the cake or how you want the cake decorated. So maybe they'll say on the top, "Happy birthday." And then Morad, "Happy birthday, Morad," or something like that. And then they'll put some stars on it because they know Morad loves the sky and astrology. So they'll put a constellation, the Big Dipper, or something like that. So, do you make custom cakes? Do you make custom cakes? All right. That's a good one to have for a bakery. And that's the end of our class. Ooh, I timed this one well. 2 minutes remaining. So, 2 minutes, you can download this free speaking guide. It will take you less than 2 minutes, it will take you 10 seconds. So, you can go to my website and I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. I share my best advice in this free guide. So, please download it for free. And also, if you have any questions, I have a minute remaining, so I'm happy to answer a question for you. If you have any questions. Yeah, you can put a picture on the cake. Yes, exactly. That's a great example of a custom cake. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the lesson. So if you have any ideas for other lessons, let me know. I'm always thinking, "Oh, what would my students enjoy?" So yes, definitely let me know. Oh, right. Can you use the word a voucher instead of coupon? No, they're not exactly the same. So, a voucher is usually if you are entitled to something, and then a coupon is more diverse. It can be a discount, it can be buy one, get one free. It could be you get one free item, for example. So a voucher is a little more specific, and then a coupon is more general. But they're both related to getting discounts and getting things for free. Oh, everyone. So there was some exciting news in North America, at least. On Sunday, oddly, most things don't happen on Sundays because that's the weekend. But Tesla launched their robo taxi. So I did a special news covering that topic because it's big news in North America. I don't know if that's big news elsewhere in the world, but it's big news in North America. So I have a news review coming tomorrow covering the Tesla robotaxi launch. And of course, we're just using the topic, but the focus is on learning vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. And we're just using the topic to do that. But everyone, make sure you watch my lesson tomorrow. I know you'll really enjoy it. It's a special news edition that I was excited to make for you. All right, everyone, you're very welcome. I'm so glad you enjoyed the lesson. You're very welcome and have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I will see all of you very soon. Bye, everyone.